Hi everyone, Andy and Joel on the Stay Hungry podcast. Today we're going to be talking about why lockdown is an advertising opportunity. Andy, how you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you. How are you?
Are you sure?
Well, not really. The world's gone to shit again. Lockdown 2.0.
So we are...
I haven't been drinking. I'm just sounding a bit chipper for some reason.
Too many coffees.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, let's not bury our head in the sands. It's shit. Lockdown is here again. But nothing you can do to change about that. So you can either be positive about it and fucking get on with shit, or you can just join the pity party on social media, and we're going to be the former. Please tell me we're going to be the former, Joel.
Andy said shit 5 times and already used the phrase pity party 42 seconds into the podcast.
How many times have I said shit? Well, 6 now.
6.
Right, okay.
Well, I guess for listeners' benefit, we're recording this on the Monday before lockdown 2. And today we're really going to be discussing the opportunity that lockdown presents for advertising. Feels a bit gross.
Sorry, I was just taking a big swig of my coffee there.
Anyway, how are you doing?
Considering, yes, good.
All right.
Good. Let's face it, we're not going to have the shock that we did when lockdown 1 happened, are we?
No. And
And we've been discussing lockdown 2 happening for how long?
Oh yeah,
now?
I was going to say pessimistic Joel predicted this when we got let out after the last one. So
well, when you see everyone just getting shit-faced together and stuff now.
and being encouraged to. So
yeah, and having loads of people around your house. Well, surprise, surprise, it's happened again. Your friends aren't immune just because they're posh.
I don't even know what that means, but it's funny.
It's something I could apply to my mother-in-law. Maybe it's like, when you play bridge, just because your friends are well-to-do doesn't mean they might not be carrying the virus, Jane.
Yeah,
it's not.
Cleanliness in this country is quite a high standard anyway. Yeah,
it doesn't choose people by class. Oh dear!
I didn't know that was a thing. I don't have that issue with my family.
Oh, here we go. So no, we're okay. It's we do what we did last time. It's happened. We'll have a rant and a moan, not publicly, apart from on our podcast, dear listeners, and we'll get on with stuff. And one of the opportunities out there is that advertising costs will be dropping. We've seen them drop already.
Yeah.
Because loads of businesses, the mediocre majority, will be having their knee-jerk reaction, cutting all their ad spend, and Google and Facebook will be like, right, we don't want to lose money. We'll need to make our offering even more attractive. Let's lower our prices.
So genuinely, I've just mentioned to you that I can see the ads on my phone from a lot of clients on their own. The cost per impression, so the cost of what it costs to show your ads to people dropped through the floor on Saturday night.
Wow.
Which Boris's announcement was 6:30, 7 o'clock on Saturday, and already
5, then 5:30, then 6:30.
4, then 5, then 5:30.
He was
then
doing
6,
it around the rugby,
6:30.
wasn't he?
Well, I text my mum that. I was like, this is mental torture. I've been waiting for a press conference for 2.5 hours, and she replied back something along the lines of, "You silly plonker." He's watching the rugby.
Yeah, see, I was sat there with Emma watching Die Hard, saying, "Oh, Joel will send me a summary later."
Well, yeah.
No.
So, I thought you might think that. I was like, I wonder how long Andy's waiting for me to contact him. It's like, I refuse. I'll wait till Monday.
I was going to contact you yesterday and just make sure you're okay.
But you didn't.
But then I thought, no.
That's the reality of our relationship.
It'll be too busy, like, watching the news.
Yes.
So you need to get into Die Hard again.
Oh, no, yesterday was...
Christmas is coming anyway, so it's Die Hard season.
It's true. Gremlins, for me.
Have the kids seen that?
Gremlins?
What certificate is that?
Too scary, 15.
Is it really 15?
Yeah, it's just proper gory, the first Gremlins.
Is it?
Yeah, she puts one of them in a blender.
Oh, right, yeah, not a human, though. Puts a little gremlin in the blender. That's all right.
Oh, cruelty to gremlins is all right, is it?
Gremlins aren't real, Joel. I remember that funny...
That's the mistake they made in the film, Andy.
I just made a faux pas there, because it's not funny at all when that old lady flies off her stair lift.
Yeah, but isn't she the horrible lady?
Oh, I can't remember. I just remember her flying out the window.
Because she strings up his dog in the Christmas lights, doesn't she?
Dear, that's not very nice.
She's not a very nice person.
Dear. Anyway, Die Hard or Die Hard 2?
Die Hard 2's the airport, isn't it?
Yeah. How could the same shit happen to the same guy twice?
Well, 5 times now. Probably Die Hard, I think.
I saw Die Hard 2 before Die Hard.
I saw Die Hard with a Vengeance before Die Hard.
Oh my God, Zeus!
So that's Samuel L. Jackson, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I saw first.
Do I look Puerto Rican to you?
I've no idea what you're talking about.
So John McClane thinks that Samuel L. Jackson character's name is Jesus.
Oh,
And he keeps saying, why do you keep saying Jesus? Do I look Puerto Rican to you? It's Zeus, lightning bolts, motherfucker.
Oh, okay.
Or so we might watch that tonight.
Oh, it's not Greek though, is it?
Good point. So done Die Hard's 1 and 2. Die Hard 3 tonight, and we'll do 4 because we love 4.
What?
And we'll pretend that 5 didn't exist.
You
4's
love
awesome.
4?
Oh, with Maggie Q. Oh, it's
4's
amazing.
the one where he like blows the hovering plane out of the sky with a car. Is that or a helicopter? He like uses
Jet.
Yeah, it's a jet, isn't it? He uses like a taxi, I think, and he pings it up the.
Oh no, yeah,
exit way
that's
of
a
the
car at the helicopter. Yeah, there's a jet later on. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and then
one.
he hangs off the jet later on with no trouble.
That's brilliant.
No,
You don't like Die Hard 4? How many times have you seen it?
once was
Okay,
enough.
watch it again. Kevin Smith's in it, playing the digital Jedi who lives with his
Well,
mum.
of course he is. Like, what other role would he play?
Yeah, I suppose so.
Just
Die Hard 5's awful.
Die Hard, though. Die Hard is awesome.
What about Die Harder?
Oh, just Die Hard's really like I guess it's a bit less about the effects and more about the character. And
Emma went through a list of the actors who turned down the role of John McClane. It's immense. I mean,
really,
literally,
like when Will Smith turned down Neo.
Mel Gibson, Frank Sinatra was the first one because he owned the rights to it.
Oh, okay.
I need to remember some more. But yeah, literally, everyone turned it down. What a mistake, man.
I know what we haven't talked about.
We haven't talked about our Facebook ads yet.
Well, the biggest news over the weekend wasn't Lockdown 2.
Was it Shrewsbury Town lost again?
Well, they did lose 5-1.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was a joke. Oh shit, really?
Yeah.
To who?
Peterborough, the footballing powerhouse.
Wow, is that like the one-legged football
True
team?
story, my friend is in a pool at work, and there's 400 staff at his work, so it's worth a fair bit of money. They all put a tenner in, and then every week you have to pick a team to win. Mm-hmm. And if your team wins, you're in the next week. But the following week, you can't pick the same team as you picked before. So he texted me in the week last week saying, I'm down to the last 8. There's like $3,000 on the line or something.
Oh wow.
Who shall I pick? And I said, absolutely 100% Peterborough. I was like, there's no way you've picked them before and they're going to win this weekend. And they won 5-1.
5-1. Got to be honest, didn't even know Peterborough had a football team. Wow.
Right. Anyway, we've really, really missed the big news of the weekend here. Based on the fact that we both love films.
Oh, I don't know then.
Rest in peace, Sean Connery.
Oh shit! Yeah, God. 90 though. Died at 90 in the Bahamas. Obviously, I don't know how exactly he died, but sounds like that's probably how I'd like to go. Age 90 in the Bahamas. But yeah, he was awesome actor.
Yeah.
My kids are upset, but you know why they're upset?
Not a clue.
Because he played Indiana Jones' dad.
Oh yeah, they've recently seen Indiana Jones.
Nothing to do
Have they
with
seen Dragonheart?
I haven't seen Dragonheart.
He's the voice of the dragon in Dragonheart.
Really?
That was my first introduction to Sean Connery as a kid. And he's the king in First Night with Richard Gere.
And he's
King Arthur as such.
He's the king in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
King Richard, yeah.
And
In both films, he shows up at the end.
Highlander, is he a king in that? He's a king in something else.
Is he surely not a Highlander?
He's a Russian submarine commander, obviously, with a Scottish accent.
Yeah.
But he's in a very good film. I think it was when he just got the Bond part, or maybe just before, a film called The Hill, black and white film, set in a sort of a prison camp during the war, I think. And really, really good film, really good.
Yeah, because people forget he had really, really good acting chops, and the way he played Bond was how he chose to play Bond. It wasn't like because he got really like shoehorned in and actually resented playing Bond for a while. But I mean, if anyone's seen The Untouchables, bloody hell,
He got an Oscar for that, didn't he?
yeah, and he's
Okay,
awesome.
enough of this running shit.
Yeah.
My favourite line from The Untouchables. Oh, when the first one gets deaded in the lift. Oh, didn't like that at all.
Right.
Right, what are we talking about, Joel? Totally forgotten.
We're talking about how lockdown's a huge advertising opportunity.
Do you think we drift too much on our podcasts?
I don't know. I mean, if you don't like films, you're in trouble.
Don't like Shrewsbury Town, you're in trouble.
Well, it's you that keeps picking up Shrewsbury Town just to mock me.
Only because I just think it's fascinating. Because I really admire. Yeah, I'm not a fair weather fan when I support something or somebody, But some football fans, you've really got to be a diehard to follow such a shit team. It's like I don't know, what do we both like in terms of sport? Boxing. Like a boxer who's literally hasn't won a fight, but I still love him.
I watched the boxer at the weekend as well.
Chisora lost, didn't he?
Yeah,
But imagine if Chisora went professional and he literally lost 10 of his 12 fights, but he's still a massive Chisora fan. Football is just one of those rare reasons where you usually support a team because that's where you're from, or because they won the FA Cup and you never lived anywhere near them. I don't understand why people follow certain teams. Anyway, you follow a team and that's it for life, isn't it? And I
Did you follow a team when you were younger?
Well, I grew up in Woking, so there were a couple of London teams, so Chelsea quite followed. But I real shock when we moved from Woking up to Telford, everyone supported Wolves.
Yeah.
I can't even remember whether I'd heard of Wolves before, but me and my mate started following Wolverhampton Wanderers. This in days of Andy Gray and stuff. But it was always just 22 people kicking the ball around for me, so I didn't really...
Not bothered. You like your individual sports more than your team sports.
Yeah.
So.
Do you know why? It's probably because I hated playing football. Because if I made a mistake, I could accept that. I found it tricky if other people made a mistake and we lost. So at least on a single sport, you've only got yourself to blame.
Yeah.
I love watching cycling. Are you watching the Vuelta at the moment?
Well, I don't watch the cycling, but I did keep up with the gyro to sort of show keen, really. And then that turned out to be really good. So.
Yeah, Theo Gegenhardt, can't believe that. Geraint Thomas hasn't mentioned it on his Instagram.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
sad, I thought he'd be like offering his congratulations, really. He might have done by now, he hadn't done last night.
Oh. Anyway, advertising and why lockdown is such a huge opportunity. Number one, you've got a captive audience. You've got people who've got nowhere to go and nothing to look at but screens. So show them stuff. And number two, the cost of advertising, as we're seeing already, is dropping through the floor because the real big boys, the ones that Google and Facebook and LinkedIn really care about, are slashing their spend, which presents a massive opportunity for smaller businesses who want to get great ad prices.
Marketing, what did you say this morning? Marketing is not a non-essential spend. Marketing is not about peaks and troughs. If you've got a specific campaign to push or a specific product or service to push at a certain time of year, of course you're going to see a bit of a peak. But your marketing is there as a constant. Whether things are good, whether things are bad, your marketing is there. Your marketing engine is always ticking over.
Yeah.
And if a lot of businesses, their first reaction when shit like lockdown happens is like cut everything. But we know from long experience basically, and from what happened in the last lockdown, we helped lots of businesses that weren't able to legally trade during the last lockdown, but they carried on marketing themselves. And guess what? When they opened their appointment diaries post-lockdown full, whereas their competitors were basically scrabbling around for scraps. I can't think of a nicer way to say that. But yeah, it's just, it can be a very short-sighted way to look at your business. So like, shit's hit the fan, I'm going to chop everything. Staff, marketing, sales, everything.
Yeah.
I understand you don't want to throw good money after bad, but that isn't the answer.
No, I listened to a podcast on the way in this morning, and the lady that called into the podcast ran a high-end audio shop. So she sold really nice speakers for fancy houses and audio systems and cinema systems, that kind of thing. And she said, it's exponential. Our marketing is exponential. The big thing is that people book a free appointment. They come into our store and we demonstrate the frequencies or the volume or whatever it might be. And she was adamant that that's what got her stuff over the line, and now she's shitting herself essentially because people can't come into the store. And the guy presenting the podcast said, what you've just said, is nonsense.
Wow.
And
which podcast was this?
No, it's Gary Vee.
Okay.
It was him and his business partner said, that's not true. And she said, what do you mean? She said, that most of the people that buy your product know nothing about the science of audio. So when you're saying to them when they come in for their visit, we can get a little bit extra out of this, or you'll notice that the bass just has got a lot more to it than other. They nod and agree and they smile and they get excited and then they buy the speaker. But the reality is they haven't got a clue. He said...
Unless it was you.
Well, but you'll get the one weirdo like me.
Yeah.
But
Glad you said that.
I'm not the target customer, am I? It's the person who's got more money than sense is the target customer. So they said, do what other businesses do. And she said, what do you mean? She said, well, when Apple launched the iTunes campaign, they knew they couldn't get across the fact that you could have 10,000 songs in a device. So they visualized it and they made it all colourful. And the fact was that the impact of the colour associated with the sound. And they were like, she was like, what do you mean? They were like, well, why don't you just offer 15-minute Zoom slots? People can ring up, and your passion for how good these speakers are, and the fact that you can talk about it, and the fact that you can showcase it against other leading audio equipment will provide an opportunity for you. And then they went into depth about how ad prices are dropping, and therefore actually experiential marketing can still happen. And we're talking about it now. One of our clients is they sell wedding dresses, and something that Fergus and our team is going to suggest to them, people could have virtual appointments through lockdown, because there's no reason you couldn't show them the dresses and warm them up to your business during lockdown. Yes, they can't come and try them on and get them right, but you'll have already done 90% more than your competitors have done.
Wow, that's really cool. Yeah, it is difficult. It is difficult when you say. I mean, that I remember that the strap line, was it 1,000 songs in your pocket?
Yeah.
Just how that summarised everything. I love that one. It's such a great starting point. But like I say, we're always telling our clients now about selling the experience. You don't want to be a purely price driven business. I mean, unless your model is sell 1 million widgets for next to nothing and then just retire. Okay, but most people are in this for the long run. And if you're purely focused on price, as soon as someone undercuts you, and at some point someone will, your loyal customers will jump ship. They're not loyal to you at all. Yeah. They're loyal to the price. Whereas you're selling on experience, we have things like Zoom and Teams that to a certain extent can replace it or certainly get you through the lockdown. And like you say, it's going to be more than 9 out of 10 of your competitors are doing it.
Yeah.
What can I do that my competitors aren't doing? To be honest, what my competitors can't be asked to do, I talked about this recently a lot, that effort is such a high barrier to entry. We talked about setting up a podcast. Now, if it was to set up a podcast, you need to invest £5,000 in podcast recording equipment. That is a high barrier to entry. It'll stop a lot of your competitors doing it. But fuck all the equipment. The barrier to entry to setting up a decent podcast is being asked to do it once a week.
Yeah.
That is an equally high barrier to entry. And so many of your competitors won't bother doing a podcast. So many of our competitors don't bother doing a podcast because, just can't be bothered.
Hey, it's Georgia at Codebreak. Thanks for listening to the Stay Hungry podcast. If you're hungry for more, don't forget to check out all the free marketing content on codebreak.co.uk.
Cool.
And there is a lot of free marketing content on Codebreak.co.uk.
Hell of a lot.
So if you're bored during lockdown...
Well, I think we saw during the first lockdown, however many years that lasted, is that, it gave forward-thinking business owners the opportunity to reevaluate their business, see what they're giving away, see what they could do differently, do some proper competitor analysis, work out, right, what can I do? What can I do that my competitors don't do, can't be bothered to do? And again, not being different just for the sake of it. But as Mark Twain said, when you find yourself on the side of the majority, it's time to stop and reflect.
Oh, we had that exact conversation just before we pressed record on this podcast. In terms of what do we do about our own marketing, pre-framing before an initial call? What do we do that differentiates us from competitors, but also perhaps means that the person looking at it it's not apples for apples. If somebody speaks to us, it won't be the same as speaking to another marketing agency because we're not interested in that model. And
if you're a professional services provider, and you find yourself in the situation where it's you up against two people and it comes down to just 3 quotes landing on someone's desk, I tell you what people are going to do. Straight away you compare, or the potential new client of yours is comparing apples with apples as far as they're concerned.
Yeah.
And all they'll do is turn to the back of the 3 proposals and go with the cheapest. So you've got to differentiate yourself.
Yeah, they'll go with the cheapest, or they'll go with the one that most stereotypically looks like what they thought they were asking for. And we've seen that this year where somebody pitched us against a competitor. And so we sent an email highlighting the differences in the 2 proposals because it was very important that they could see that it wasn't apples for apples, that actually we don't do what other people do, and much like that example of the lady that sells speakers, half the battle is not her showing off the equipment, it's her getting in front of the customer and giving herself the opportunity to talk them through. If someone's wealthy enough to install a mansion-wide home cinema system, you're probably going to have to talk to them a little bit first and explain and chat them through it and explain that, don't worry, your engineers will come and set it up to the optimum settings, and all you're going to have to do is turn it on, sort of thing. And
it's one of the first things I was taught in business, I think, sell the appointment. If that is your type of business model where the best chance you have of converting someone is to get in front of them or to get them on the phone, whatever it might be, that's what you sell.
And on that note, book a discovery con.
Visit codebreak.co.uk. Like it.
But that's the point, isn't it? The point being that now you've got that captive audience, and it doesn't really matter if you sell a product, because e-commerce exists, it's a thing. If you're not aware of that, you're in trouble. If you sell a service, you can still, as far as I'm aware, sell that service, some a bit more difficult than others, but either get that appointment as your hook and use that as a way of getting people over the line, and you can facilitate that over Zoom or Teams or whatever it might be, or get that product in front of people.
So what do we say to the people out there who are listening who are in a business that has been or is being forced to shut down?
It's like a
hairdresser. Can't trade. Now we know, obviously, we've worked with hairdressers over the years.
Yeah.
And some of the numbers were frightening in terms of what we saw, the return on their ad spend, and in terms, to be honest, this isn't nice really, but a number of their competitors hit the wall because they chopped all their spend. And when lockdown stopped and hairdressers were allowed to trade, suddenly, oh shit, I better start marketing again. Well, too late. Our client's already ahead of the game. He's got a full diary. And you literally are, what did I say earlier, scrabbling around for scraps. People will forget you quickly. That's the hard reality.
Yeah.
Even your favourite customers, John.
Speaking of hairdressers, so this isn't a client, but a barber that you and I have both used, what he did in the last lockdown, which, if he's listening, I feel was genius, was his first step was he sold vouchers to his existing client base to book slots for whenever they did reopen. And what that meant was that anybody that wanted to support his business could. So that was pretty cool in the first instance. It ain't going to make your business survive, but it does put a bit of cash through.
I've got to have lockdown hair again, I just realised now.
A lockdown beard for me.
Fucking hell. You're going to shave your head again?
I might grow it out this time instead.
Wow. I'd love to see that.
You're so mean to me.
No, I really would. I'm intrigued.
I feel like
not excited.
Stick in the dump by Christmas. Just looking like a right fucking mess. Anyway.
Do you know what I'm picturing? Who's the Italian gangster in Prison Break?
I thought you were going to say the guy out of The Hangover. That's where
Bradley Cooper? No, never say that. In your dreams, maybe.
The guy out of Prison Break, the one. No, not Fibonacci.
The
chap that looks like a muscly tea bag. That's what you mean, isn't it? The one who's got a goatee and like slightly balding but got long hair. Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking of.
Great.
He's in John Wick 2 as well.
It's like almost like a dark-haired Hulk Hogan. That's what you're going with, that, isn't it?
I think that's still quite flattering.
Well, okay. The point I was making.
Hulk Hogan's quite an attractive man.
I'm going to ignore you and plough on.
Right. Oh, okay.
The barber that we were talking about, that was the first thing he did. The second thing he did was he launched a range of hair and beard products under his own label, and he sold them as hampers, and so people could order them online. And then he went into vouchers and all sorts of stuff after that.
Do you know what I love about that barber? They cotton on to the fact that even the happiest customers in the world won't automatically call up to book an appointment. So what he does now, you have your barber's appointment, and as you're paying, he says, should we book you in for next time? And he gets that commitment done there and then in your diary, job done.
And he gets you with that every time.
My massage therapist has been doing it for donkey's years. And I suppose for us, it's almost like common sense, because it's like, oh shit, my hair's getting a bit long, Joe. Oh, I must call the barber. But by then, God knows how much other advertising from other barbers you may be exposed to and think, oh, actually, I'm going to try that other bloke this time and go to his barber shop and see what happens. It's just smart. One of the simplest, most effective, it's probably old school barbers have probably been doing that trick for like donkey's years.
Oh, to the extent where it's literally like, 10 o'clock on the first Monday of every month, I know who's coming through the door.
Every 3 weeks I go now. But it's like, oh no.
How often did you go prior to this barber shop? When you were just doing it ad hoc? Every 3 weeks is quite regular, isn't it?
5, 6 weeks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got you.
Likes
He's got
to,
you.
yes, it's smart. He's going to do well, this guy. Now, not that I know the barbering industry really well, but I do know some, let's call them old school barbers. And yeah, it's a good job. They are close to retirement because they just wouldn't last. Some of these young barbers coming through now, they're clued up with their marketing. They're running their Facebook ads. They're getting customers' email addresses. They're having appointment apps uploaded to people's
YouTube
phones.
channels.
Yeah, it's serious. It's serious.
Getting
stuff.
influencers in through the door. He's done that, hasn't
So
he?
we notice he's got his lighting rig set up. So you come in to have your haircut, shit, these guys are on the ball. Look, there's one of those lighting rings, and oh shit, these guys are cool. Yeah, it's very,
I asked him
very
about
good stuff.
that, and he said it's so he can see your hair better as well.
Yeah, I'm in the other chair.
Oh,
Maybe he's trying to tell me something. Oh yeah, actually, yeah, I'm never using any of the model shots.
Which doesn't surprise me. Return fire.
Charming.
You're like,
Well, I say, it'd be good, bit of diversity.
why?
What?
I'm sure he's got other Indian customers.
I haven't seen any. I could be the first one.
The first Indian Welsh customer.
You represent the mixed race community. I think he's just saying I've got shit hair. It's nothing to do with the colour of my skin.
You had absolutely outstanding hair post-lockdown, and that was all courtesy of them.
Well, that was sort of Hulk Hogan gone wrong as well, wasn't it? It was just everywhere.
No, I mean, the first time you went to the barbers after lockdown.
When I had a do.
And you had a bit of a do.
Yeah, but it's such a pain in the arse to look after, isn't it?
But, I mean, you were doing all right there. I thought it was a stylish haircut.
Well, then my dad didn't start losing his hair till his 70s, and mine started going in my...
You haven't lost any hair.
Well, it's not as thick as I'd like it to be, that's for sure.
Oh,
I'm on caffeine shampoo now.
Oh, am me. But
Oh,
I have been since I was about 15.
Which one are you on? The Alpacin one?
Yeah.
I'm on this man cave vegan.
Yeah, I've got a lot of man cave stuff. It's quite good. Comes in a cool box.
It's got L-arginine and all that shit in it.
I don't know what that means.
I want a thick thatch of hair. I wouldn't go to the lengths that Wayne Rooney went to and start sewing it in and stuff.
Sewing your arse hair to your head.
But when it gets too thin, it's just shave it all off.
Your hair is not thin at all.
It's pretty thin. Okay. Well, it's not as thick as I like it to be, but I can't go down the comb over route when you see that happening, and it's like.
There's no patches on there, though, is there?
Well, I couldn't. I'd like to
see the back of your head. Oh yeah, you're all right.
I'd like to try going long hair, but I definitely haven't got thick enough hair for that because that looks bad.
That would be amazing.
We can both look like that guy from Prison Break then.
Right, we're off track again.
Right, yeah, sorry, right, Facebook. Yeah, so the barbers, okay, not allowed to legally trade you in lockdown, carry on running their ads, full appointment diary afterwards. That's it in a nutshell why, even if your business has been forced to close, then stopping all your marketing is not a good thing because there are going to be competitors out there who, to be honest, may be spending more on their marketing during lockdown, which will make your position quite untenable when the doors are allowed to reopen again. Yeah,
and it's that. I mean, I don't want to sound insensitive because I've no idea what it would feel like to actually have to just shut up shop. That would be horrific. Mm-hmm. But it is about doing what you can, whether that's running ads because ad prices are going to be very competitive, or whether that's putting time into doing video and social media and getting yourself out there and reminding people that you're still around, or whether that's doing product tours through remotely on Zoom or whatever it might be. But I think
doing something.
You can't. I really do think in the last lockdown, a lot of people went into hibernation.
Just binge on Netflix, scratch their arse.
And they've just about got up to speed now. And they've been told to hibernate again, and they will. And you just don't want to be that business owner. You don't. I mean, that's the one thing I know you and I didn't do, was take our foot off the gas. And to be quite honest with you, there were points where we probably should have done a little bit, but you really do have to keep yourself in front of people. It's as simple as that. If you've got any intention of having a business come January, Keep yourself out there. Take advantage of the fact that you've got a captive audience at the moment. Take advantage of the fact that more people will be using LinkedIn than they normally do. Think about in terms of how much easier it is to go to networking if it's on Zoom versus having to roll out of bed at 6 in the morning and go and eat a terrible breakfast bap. There's these things you can do to market your business, keep yourself in front of the right people, that if you're not doing in January, you might have to ask yourself a question. And I think it's much easier to live with lockdown and know you've tried everything than it is to hit a wall and be like, oh, the world's against me.
We were running free marketing clinics during the last lockdown, and each conversation had to start with us asking the same question: do you plan on having a business to come back to? And that covers everything. Because yes, right, you've got to fucking do something.
Yeah.
Learn, implement, whatever it might be. Like this barber we keep talking about now. I mean, he listens to podcasts all the time. He told me, oh, is this podcast guy? He's just started on the Stephen Bartlett one, Diary of a CEO. And it's like, don't want to generalise, not every day you hear your barber talk about the business podcast he's listening to and he's learning. Okay, yes, switch off. Watch a Netflix series. Of course, we all need to relax. We were telling our team, exercise, running, cycling, just going for a walk with the dogs. You must keep on top of your mental health. But you've also got to learn. There is something you can do, whether you're allowed to trade or not, that will protect and possibly even grow your business when you're allowed to reopen.
Yeah, I mean, something that we've experienced in the first lockdown, and I'm sure we'll be going through this again, but you can go through your business with a fine-tooth comb. You can look at, it might be your marketing, but it could be your finances, it could be your processes, your systems, and you can start to look at where you can make improvements, those things that you were never, ever going to have time to do before.
You're not going to get rid of me, are you?
Well,
this Andy bloke, what exactly does he do in the company?
Yeah. All I see is you, Joel. Is it all the Google ads just changed to my face? Just all the retargeting. Where's Andy gone? You don't need to worry about him anymore.
We be chopping some dead wood off. Yeah, like I say, it could be going through the books. It could be looking at your marketing. It could be doing something. If you think about some of the systems we got in place, some of them are down to lockdown. That we think, oh look, there's a system that can do this, or there's a process that can handle that. We can add stuff to the Codebreak Bible, which means you don't have to continually train people the same thing. There is productive stuff you can do to make the boat go faster.
I mean, I know I've said Discovery Call a few times now, but the way our Discovery Call system works, that would never have got built if it wasn't for the last lockdown. It's all automated. It'll be in our diary before we even know someone's filled in the form.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, the amount of, obviously our business ultimately is a people business. It starts with the people, with our team, the knowledge, the experience, the service we provide. But, our business mentor will say automate or die. And there is automation that can help make the job easier and more efficient. Not just all about things being easier. It's about ultimately also being better for the client. But if there's stuff that can help you, just doing it the same way you've always done it, especially if it's just a manual process that you're doing all the time. Someone new joins the team, you've got to teach them the same manual process for them to do. There's probably tools and systems out there that can sort it out for you.
Speaking of which, watch the Gadget Show on Friday, because that's the kind of guy I am.
That's not with Craig
Charles, on Channel 5.
Is that still on?
Yeah.
Hell. Like Robot Wars. Did he do that?
He did do Robot Wars, but he didn't originally do the Gadget Show, did he? He took it over from whoever.
Okay.
Anyway, they showed a conversation between two chatbots.
Right.
But they didn't tell you it was two chatbots before.
Wow.
And it just sounded like a human conversation. And obviously got me thinking, because essentially it was one bot. It was a bot ordering a pizza from a pizza business. And it sounded human. The whole thing sounded human. And that's just an indication of where we're going, really, with automation, is that there's tools out there now, that autoresponders on your email, autoresponders on your social media. The fact that soon we'll be able to have bots answer the phone to people and they won't know whether it's a human or a bot. These are the sort of things you can be planning for, the sort of things that could take appointments for you without you having to even lift a finger. And that's what you need to be thinking about right now.
Yeah, it's It's tricky because I know, again, to use the phrase old school, there are people out there, oh no, you're taking people's jobs, how are you doing this? It's like, you've got to think commercially. You don't want to get left behind. My dad is a real technophobe, and I could see it affecting his business even at a young age. I'm not saying embrace every new technology, but there are things that are worth doing your due diligence on, because if they can help make you more efficient, give your clients better results, make you more profitable, then you'd be a fool to ignore them. It's like, there's obviously, with lockdown 2 happening now, I'm seeing the same old posts go up about supporting local, and when you buy local, you're helping a father buy ballet shoes for his daughter or something. And I totally agree with that point in principle, but you can't assume that someone should give you money just because you're local.
Yeah, agreed.
You've got to offer something different to the Amazons of the world, or whoever your big boy competitors are.
Yeah,
We will always try and support local, but the fact is, if I can get a better service from a national supplier, I'll go to the national supplier. I've been had some right rude attitude off some local businesses.
Yeah, I mean, to qualify that, there's a vegan cafe by us that we really like, and obviously they've got to shut on Thursday. So what
do you have? Don't say falafel.
Hannah had a not dog.
So what's this Brexit ruling thing about you? Has some meat industries been trying to push through the fact, no, you're not allowed to use the word sausage or burger if it doesn't contain meat or some shit?
Is that really happening?
So there was, not the Plant Pioneers, a vegan food producer on LinkedIn was talking about it, that sub-lobbies have gone to the EU Commission or whatever to try and push that case forward. And I think it's been just chucked out saying don't waste our bloody time. But it's like, no, you can't use the word sausage or burger if it doesn't contain... It's like, oh my God. So I think it's funny when someone says something like not dog. It's like they're not offending anyone or deliberately trying to piss off the meat industry. It's just saying
cool
it's like a hot dog.
So Hannah had a not dog and I had Biscoff pancakes. But
definitely no meat substitutes there then.
But the point being, we wanted to support local in that instance. They're about to go through some shit, and we were like, oh, we might as well have lunch from there today. So if you were planning on doing your Christmas shopping locally or anything like that, get it done in the next couple of days, and support those businesses because they'll really appreciate it.
What was the not dog like?
Don't know.
Yeah. So
Must have been good because I didn't see any of it.
The Plant Pioneers range in Sainsbury's, really, they do these southern fried bites that are made, basically the whole range, I think, is just made of mushrooms. And even my daughter likes them and she hates mushrooms. And they're really, really good. But as far as I'm aware, there's not any chicken producers who are really up in arms that they're calling them southern fried bites.
Well, you could southern fry a potato.
I suppose so.
What's your final thoughts on the opportunity for advertising during lockdown, Andy?
Be positive, learn, but don't bury your head in the sand.
Nice one.